here?
Same old thing. We're still trying to get the word out.
Same old thing, still trying to get the word out, huh?
Yeah, right now Gaza's under attack, ostensibly for acts committed by the Hamas government, but Hamas is claiming they didn't do any activity against the Israelis, which got 7 Israelis killed yesterday. Israel's been not retaliating, they've been using that as an excuse to bomb the hell out of the citizens of Gaza. They've killed several, destroyed businesses and everything else. Anything for an excuse to further punish the victims.
So what's happened here is there's something... Israel's claiming it was Hamas. Hamas says it wasn't them?
Yeah, Hamas said it wasn't them. There's indications that a Syrian group of Arab extremists actually shot at a bus and killed several Israeli tourists, about 7, I believe, in all. And they had nothing to do with Gaza, which is a concentration camp that Israel holds people prisoners
trapped inside.
Trapped inside 1.5 million people that
and they're bombing it now.
And they're bombing it again. They've been doing that since yesterday morning. They know who attacked their bus and simultaneously blew up 2 other bombs in Israel proper. It wasn't anyone from Gaza. Those people can't get out of Gaza. It is a surrounded concentration camp by walls, barbed wire, armed guard towers. A few people are let out by the, by the Egyptians at the border with Egypt and Gaza. At a Rafah crossing, the town of Rafah at the border with Egypt. But they are very limited, and they're very screened, and they can only get out on foot. They can't have any weapons, obviously, with them when they get out.
Yeah.
This attack had nothing to do with the citizens of Gaza, but Palestine is, in about 3 weeks, is going before the United Nations in a bid for statehood so it can get released from its 60-year occupation and imprisonment and murderous activity by Israelis. And so that is a reason that the people of Gaza, the Palestinians, are getting blamed for this attack in Western media, because Israel doesn't want them to get statehood.
Trying to build up a little rhetoric about it also when they try to get their statehood. It's going to be...
Yeah, they're going to say, no, you can't let these violent people have their own state, essentially. And Israel also wants the border closed at the Rafah crossing into Egypt completely. That border has been open to foot traffic, about 200 people per day that are highly screened by the Egyptian authorities and the Hamas authorities on the Gaza side. They don't want any terrorists getting through and doing any damage either, because it looks bad for all Palestinians when an outside group does that. But anyway, so in order to thwart that bid for statehood, and in order to put pressure on the international community to further pressure Egypt to keep that gate closed again like it was under Mubarak's regime, which Mubarak got replaced now, and there's an interim Egyptian military that is, there are elections pending, but it's under the control of the Egyptian military for now, the Egyptian state is. But anyway, that's the 2 reasons. Keeping the gate closed to closing the gate again, locking them all down tight, not allowing any people to get out for medicines or anything. Several people have died because they have not been able to leave Gaza to get medicines. They're terribly restricted on food and anything to rebuild their economy or their buildings with. There were thousands of homes and schools and hospitals that were destroyed a year and a half ago when Israel launched the 22-day campaign of murderous assaults by F-16s, U.S. supplied F-16s.
Yeah, the way the U.S. supplies and supports Israel, do you feel like most American citizens are behind this?
Oh yeah, but they're out of ignorance. We haven't a clue what's going on. We're given this line that Israel is this shining little star in the Middle East, shares values with America. Well, yeah, it does. If you consider American forces going all over the world murdering people, Israel does indeed share the same values. But that's not you and me and the general public. We don't have a clue what our country, what our empire does, or what Israel does to their neighbors. And it's all for business and enterprise and banking cartels that profit from this kind of activity and this belligerence and imprisonment of people. Anyway, we need we send almost we did send $4 billion this year of U.S. tax dollars to Israel. That's not counting the millions or perhaps billions more by private Christian groups. And
do we send any to Palestine?
Very little, a few million, but nothing close to the 4 billion. And that's because Palestine has been bombed into oblivion and they're starving to death without international aid. They have no means of getting any products to market or anything. They're completely closed off. For the most part, by the Israelis who have illegally occupied them now for more than 60 years, 63 years. They established a country on the land of other peoples, and they've been encroaching into and building on that land and murdering everybody that gets in their way ever since. And that's the truth. It is terrible. So we're out there trying to enlighten people that our tax dollars don't need to be spent there. They need to be brought home here and spent rebuilding our economy. Israel's rich by American standards. There was an article in today's Jerusalem Post. You can look it up. They're enticing people to flood into young married couples to flood to Israel and take advantage of their booming economy. They've got a higher GDP per person than the United States has, or a higher standard of living. There are other indicators that they aren't doing so well, but that's the propaganda they're putting out. They want people to flood in and displace the people who have been there for centuries, and that's how they're doing it. Come to Israel. We'll give you a free subsidized house thanks to American tax dollars, and we'll protect you with our army thanks and supplied by American tax dollars. And we'll just keep on stealing land and keep building as much as we can to expand greater Israel.
Seems unacceptable to me. I don't know.
The world doesn't accept it.
Yeah.
There have been over 100 UN resolutions filed against Israel. 40 of them were filed at the Security Council, but in every one of those 40 instances, the U.S. held up its hand and said, "No, we're going to veto that. We're going to stop it right here. We're not going to hear it." The U.S. has veto power at the Security Council, and along with 4 other members of the 15-member, there are 10 permanent members, 5 rotate in and out. I'm sorry, I think there are 15 permanent members. But in any case, the U.S. has vetoed time and time again any actions that the international community, more than 160 other nations, have tried to take to prevent Israel from continuing this barbarous, inhumane, and illegal behavior.
Well, thanks for doing what you're doing.
Well, we're trying.
Yeah, it's about all we can do, right? Just educate people and let them know what's going on.
That's it.
Most people don't get this kind of information.
They don't. You can Google ifamericans.knew.com.
Okay.
If Americans Knew. Just put those 3 words in any search engine.
And that'll help us Americans get to know.
There you go.
Yeah, what we need to know.
Absolutely. Keep our money and our troops home. We don't need to be protecting these clowns as they are exterminating people out of their way.
Yeah.
The colonial period is over. England found that out. We found that out. Israel apparently still needs to find that out. They can't continue to expand on other people's land. It's illegal under UN convention or under various international laws, Fourth Geneva Convention, and Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and some other standards of universal human behavior that were put in place because of what happened to Jewish people, primarily after World War II. But they're doing the same thing to the Palestinians that were done to them during the 30s and 40s in Europe.
Yeah.
And it's terrible.
Yeah. Can't believe we're sitting here talking about it.
Yeah, I know. It shouldn't be, not today.
No.
It's the 21st century.
Dang. I'm going to get your signs. You got some new signs here, at least for me anyway.
Yeah, I can turn them around here, but I'll be blocking traffic. So.
Israel crimes, get U.S. troops support. Very good. Thanks, Dale.
Okay, thank you, Joe. Appreciate it. Thank you.
You want to say something about Congress?
Yeah, thanks. People don't know this generally, it's not advertised, but 81 of our Congress members just returned this week from a free junket for them and their families to Israel. This happens every time there's a new elected Congress and then throughout the entire congressional session and period. These Congress members get a free tour, which is essentially they are told that they're going to have to do the bidding of Israel over and above the bidding of the U.S. people. They're taken through all of the Holocaust memorabilia and all of that regurgitated stuff that we continually get reminded about. And they're told that if you don't comply with Israel's demands of continual funding and Israel's continual support, and if you don't continue to block any legal action taken against Israel by the international community, we will essentially find a candidate at the next election who we will fund, and we will trash your political career. Now this is how it works. Ask Cynthia McKinney, Congresswoman Cynthia McKinney.
That's what they did to her, didn't they?
That's what they did to her.
Yep.
They've done it to not only her, but several other Congress members that have dared to stand up to the Israeli lobby in this country. Our Congress is bought by several lobbies. The Defense Department lobby, the Zionist lobby that assures that there's all kinds of instability in the Middle East where the oil is, the energy lobbies, which control the natural gas and the oil flows out of the Middle East. All of these lobbies have control of Congress by donating campaign funds and filling their campaign coffers at every election. Those that will do the bidding of these interests get reelected because they're able to afford expensive advertising. Those that don't do the bidding, as I said with AIPAC, they'll find another candidate and they will put them up against those that don't do their bidding. So it's our system is corrupted beyond repair because these lobbies and various interest groups, financial lobbies included, control our U.S. Congress, which is supposed to be doing the bidding of we the people of the United States of America. It doesn't work that way any longer. We're going to have to start over. Unelect about 400 of the 435 current House of Representatives members. If they voted to increase war spending over the last 4 years, it's easy to find out. Google their voting record. Anybody can find that information. It's readily available. And if they have voted to increase spending on military adventures all over the world for American business interests that are getting our kids killed and fomenting a lot of hatred toward the American public for our military enterprises all over the world in protecting these commercial interests, vote them out. It's as simple as that. We have a choice through our vote on how our country is run. We don't have a choice on how our country is running now because we refuse to educate ourselves on how to properly vote. Don't believe everything that comes out of your television set in an advertising campaign. Both the Democrat and the Republican parties are equally guilty. Thank you. Equally guilty in fomenting war and increasing the war funding and increasing the profits for the war profiteers. Boeing, General Dynamics, General Electric, Lockheed, Electric Boat Company, aircraft manufacturers, all over you name them. We're a war economy. We need to stop that, bring the kids home, rebuild our infrastructure instead of more military hardware, which we export all over the world, killing people and making ever more enemies. We can do that at the next election by voting intelligently, and it's as simple as that. Educate yourselves. We can change our country. Yeah, you too, pal. Yeah, you too.